Hey, welcome back to Midas Letter Live. My guest this segment is Jim Pettit. He's the president of Aben Resources Ltd, trading on the TSX Venture under the symbol ABN. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's been, I think, somewhere in the range of 15 years since we last crossed paths. And so you've been doing what you've been doing diligently for those 15 years. I've been doing what I've been doing, and here we are crossing paths again. Based on, essentially, this great discovery has brought us together, and I've become a shareholder of the company, as have a number of other people in the industry. So tell me about this project and tell me about what's happening right now and in the future.
Well, this specific project is called the Forrest Kerr project, and it's in the Golden Triangle in British Columbia. And there's a lot of interest there because there's a lot of land's been staked. There's a bit of an area of play and getting bigger and bigger every year, it seems. But it's such a highly prospective area for elephants.
Sure.
You know, and we've been in there a few years, and it took us a better part of the first year just to acquire the land position.
Okay. There's some big mines in there already.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
we're surrounded by past mines, Snip and Eskay, for example, and there's now new exploration going on there to resurrect them. You've got to the south the Premier Mine, towards Stewart, and up north now you've got Galore Creek is probably one of the largest undeveloped copper gold projects in the world. That's just been, the ownership of that has just been changed. Newmont's bought out NovaGold, so now Newmont and Teck own it, and it looks like that's going to get a new life. Further north, Red Chris, Imperial's copper mine is in production. The new one down to the south is Pretium. Yeah. Big gold project. There's lots.
Yeah.
And a lot of little recent discoveries too.
Sure. So the hole that sort of lit the world on fire was this August 9th, 162.4 grams per ton over 6 meters with 38 grams over 10 meters. Now, you've got other holes at the lab as we speak, don't you?
Yes.
And so there's probably going to be some...
And counting. I mean, it's building, yeah.
And you've got drills turning.
We got a drill turning.
Okay.
We're scrambling right now. I think we could come up with another drill. It was a little dicey a little while ago. But they're starting to free up.
You've essentially catalyzed between yourselves and Golden Ridge Resources, who also had a big discovery hole recently. Bit of a land grab, staking rush in the area, and now drills are becoming hard to come by already too?
Oh yeah, I was just up there 2 weeks ago, and we were flying over just the southern region of the triangle, so say from the AltaGas camp to the south, so Eskay Creek south. We counted 20 drills. And then if you go north where we are, I can think of probably 10 more that are working. And then you've got a lot of people that acquired ground last fall after the summer ended, picked up every spare piece of land there is, and they've all applied for permits, and they're probably just getting their permits approved now. So they'll have maybe a month to go up there and do something.
So that ground's going to have more holes poked in it than Swiss cheese.
Oh yeah.
Well, interesting. Then, so in terms of the regional geology and the sort of the system that you're into, how do you characterize that in simple geological terms?
Complex.
Great, that's a help. Okay, we'll start with complex and take it down from there.
There's well, a little history. After Eskay was discovered, and it was so significant as one of the richest deposits in the world, everybody went in there 30 some odd years ago and were looking for VMS style deposits, Eskay style. And there was all these old holes just left there because, not VMS, move on. And we have one on our property that's Noranda drilled it. It was, say 10 meters of 38 grams.
But it wasn't VMS.
And they only did a couple follow-up holes and moved on. It wasn't. What we're into here is distinctly new because of Pretium, and we're looking structurally controlled hydrothermal systems, which offer up these tremendous grades and what I call intensity. Because when they're that intense, what we just announced 10 days ago, that's not it's not a one-off. It's just it's too much there.
So it sounds like when you say complex, you're talking about the fact that there are multiple geological systems sort of integrating.
Well, what we're doing right now is we're drilling in this north boundary zone that we've come up with to get a handle on orientation and controls.
Okay. Stratigraphic
And
controls.
so far we know there's probably been 4 mineralizing events.
Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So runs the risk of becoming a jewelry box, does it?
Yeah.
That's a nice problem to have.
Well, that Noranda hole that I just mentioned is 130 meters to the south of us, where we started drilling. And last year we had the 3 holes that pointed us in this direction. They were actually a discovery, but the market didn't really respond because it was towards the end of the season by the time we got the assays back. We took that information and applied it to the drilling this year, in the very first hole we came out with, which was just underneath those 3 holes, because they were on a fan off one pad, not a fan, sorry, but one plane.
Right.
And we came in underneath it, moved the pad back, came underneath it, and boom.
Okay, so you guys have you've just closed this private placement.
Yep.
You've got tons of money to go and drill aggressively, shall we say.
Yep.
Are you going to put all that money in the ground before the snow flies?
That'd be hard to do.
Right, without at least one
that
more
would be
drill.
hard to do. Yeah, so what we're going to do, see, we're basically at our planned budget for this year. You know, we got a 5,000 meter drill program, approximately $2 million. We're there now. The rig's not leaving. That's been worked out. Everyone's staying, and we can keep going. And hopefully I get another rig in there sooner than later.
Sure. That area becomes, you can't get in there in the winter, can you?
Well, it's hard.
Right.
You know, and it's all air support, so you know, a lot of your cost is the drill rig and helicopter.
Okay.
We're pumping up our crew capabilities to have more guys in the field doing more surface sampling while the weather's still good. It's been a really nice summer up there.
Sure. Interesting. Okay, so in terms of the core that's currently at the lab, what has been the sort of like visual description that you've heard from your drill crews?
Well, thanks.
No forward-looking statements or anything, but I mean, you know, it's anecdotally possible to say that.
What we've learned to look for now is, last year it was, if you have a high concentration of chalcopyrite, there was a strong association to precious metals. So if you had massive calco, you'd have high grades. That's what we hit, and it worked. We followed it, allowed us to do what we were doing. This year, this hole we have announced, because we did rush it, was a totally different mineralizing event. Very little calco. It's like 40 meter separation underneath what we hit last year, and it's more of a carbonate sulfide, dark, veiny, lots of veins, looks a lot like snip.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So
we had Ron's had a look at it. Ron Nedlisky,
right?
He discovered the snip mine.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he looked at that. And
okay, so the excitement level sounds like it's pretty high. I mean, the stock raced up to almost 50 cents, backed off a bit, and is holding there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, it's, you know, I think the smart people realize that this isn't just one hole.
Right.
There was 3 last year that all had very intense mineralization, but they're very broad.
So they're far apart from each other?
Well, it was 45, 60, and 75 degrees on one section. This, we were trying to be on the same section, but underneath, because we backed up the pad and came underneath it. And so you have one mineralizing event, now we have another. And it's highly fractured, microfractures throughout. You have a vein that'll have, you know, every half a centimeter, there's a fracture. And it's just a, you know, and we're that close to the Kerr fault that runs all the way up our property. That's a major feature for the whole Golden Triangle, is call it a driver.
Right.
It's a major structural feature that would have allowed the fluids to come in, and there's all kinds of cross-cutting faults, subfaults, and that.
Interesting. Okay, so I'm curious as to whether you've had any conversations with partners at this point to come in and help you.
A little early.
A little early?
But, you know, there is interest. There's always interest. And what I've noticed this year, as opposed to the past, like even last year, the year before, there's more majors paying attention. So there have been conversations. They're interested in what's going on. And instead of us making the phone call, you know, hey, do you want to hear about it? It's, there's definite interest. And it could be because a lot of them are already in the Yukon.
Sure.
They've gone back to the Yukon. But in this area, you've got the presence. You know, gold quartz up there, barracks, paying attention. Right to our north, all that porphyry potential land. Antofagasta has done a deal with Evram that surrounds the Hank property that Golden Ridge drilled.
Okay, so of the 16 holes of this 4,850 meter program, how many of them are yet to come out?
15.
15. Okay, so that was just, I wasn't sure whether the last 3 were from this program or not. That's funny. Okay, so.
No, the reason is we're getting them back not in order.
Okay.
It's what happens is we get them into the lab has moved them from the Terrace lab to the Kamloops lab because they're getting just backed up again. And last year was literally 2 months.
Right.
We were waiting. And if you ordered them rushed, we happened to be in early enough so that first hole did get rushed and it did make a difference. We got it back. But we still haven't got a complete, the assays complete for number 2.
Oh, okay.
We've got partials on, you know, all the holes basically, so they're coming back. It's just not in order, but it'll happen. It'll come together, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks.
You bet. Okay, that sounds like a pretty good update on what's going on up there, Jim. We'll come back to you when we see the next press release and have another conversation. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
And we're done.